Bitcoin has been bouncing from this massive higher time frame support level, and we've been holding up quite nicely. We can see in the short term that we've actually been reclaiming this mid-range level that we've been talking about on the channel. We've actually bounced from this demand level also, which is absolutely amazing to see. So this is looking very, very good in the short term. However, we've got some bearish economic data for the markets because we've been seeing that the GDP has been going up and the unemployment data has been going up, which is bearish for rate cuts. So we need to be deciphering, is this going to have a negative impact in the market in a while, or is this a massive trap? Is this going to be some data that's just going to be overlooked by the market, and are we going to be pumping? I'm going to be breaking this down in this video with a lot of different data points and charts ready for you guys. We're going to be covering Ethereum as well, and we're going to be covering this massive dump that's potentially going to be happening on Ethereum in the next few days here, or is it a massive trap over there? So make sure to be watching till the end, and yeah, let's not waste any more time. You know how we do. Let's get straight away into this banger. Bow. So looking at Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin's had a dump last week. However, this week we've been recovering quite strongly, which is looking really good, and we've actually reclaimed this mid-range support level that we've been talking about. So you can see that this is our range highs over here, this is our mid-range, and this is our range lows, and you can see that Bitcoin's actually reclaimed the mid-range, which is looking very bearish, and we have our target in and around 123k. Now I'm going to be telling you why this is going to be a target that we're going to be looking at if Bitcoin can actually start to move towards the upside, but you can see that this is looking really strong. However, we've had our jobless claims come in, and we've had our GDP numbers come in, and they've come in higher than the forecast essentially, and the unemployment claims is coming a little lower, indicating unemployment is not actually increasing, and we're having GDP actually going up, which is actually showing that the economy is somehow strong. But I would just actually like to mention that you can see that the numbers are very close. It's not really a big divergence over here in the numbers, it's quite close. So like I've said here, the labor market is showing resilience, but just barely, and this is not going to be sustainable long term. So I still think that the probability of a rate cut is quite high, and we can see that if we give this a quick refresh, the probabilities of a rate cut has actually gone up to about 87.2%. so people are actually pricing in that the numbers are indicating that the economy is only getting stronger marginally, and this is not very sustainable for the long term. So this is essentially why we're not dumping. You can see that Bitcoin is actually holding up quite nicely, and this just feeds into the next thing I'm going to be talking about. So we made a lower low when I created this fractal, and you can see that every time Bitcoin's created a lower low and we reclaimed the range, we've actually traded towards the upside. And I think that that's going to be the next step for Bitcoin. We're going to be following this global liquidity, and we're going to be trading a lot higher. We talked about the fact that we could have been repeating this January 2025 fractal and having a deeper correction, but that's not been the case. We came in towards our box that we've been talking about, and we've actually reclaimed the range already, and you can see that it's likely that we can have a daily close inside of this range. So we need to be waiting to the end of the day to really confirm this. But by the looks of things, after this numbers that we've been getting on the unemployment and of course the GDP, things are looking good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still holding up nicely. We're still actually within this range right here. So if we can get a daily close inside of the range, that'll be looking very bullish. Now another reason we can be bullish is the fact that we have a CME gap at 117k. Currently we're trading at 112k for Bitcoin, and right now we're actually below the CME gap and it's not filled. So the fact that this CME gap is open indicates that we can see a rally towards the upside. A CME gap is essentially when you have your Friday close. This is an institutional exchange that has Bitcoin open, and you can see that every time that we have a CME gap, previously if you watched the channel, we tend to fill the gap. So it's very likely we can actually fill the CME gap. Another reason why we may see a pump is the fact that we have a lot of liquidity above us right now. So you can see that we're trading just below 112k, and you can see that we've had a lot of liquidity in towards 120k, which feeds into the fact that I'm talking about us actually trading in towards our highs over here. You can see that if we actually grab that liquidity from 117k in towards 120k, it's very likely we reach this resistance level at 123k, which is going to be my target. So make sure to be watching the channel to be staying up to date with what's going to be happening with that. But yeah, this is the most likely scenario since we have a lot of liquidity above us, and Bitcoin always tends to grab the majority of the liquidity. You can see that when the liquidity was below us, Bitcoin actually grabbed the liquidity, and now the majority actually resides above us. So it's likely we get a short squeeze here, and we see Bitcoin move towards the upside. Now, not only do we have the liquidity and the CME gap above us, indicating that Bitcoin can actually move towards the upside with some bullish data. We also have the seasonality playing in our favor here. You can see that in prior years, so in 2023 and in 2024, we had a dip in August, and this essentially came from the speech that Powell had. And after we created that low, we actually saw a massive reversal in towards September. So the fact that we've already started to show signs of reversal here indicates that this dip can be a lot more shallow, and the fact that we're already reversing shows that this reversal can be already happening. It could be already in the process of happening right now. So we need to be waiting for the daily close, and we need to be seeing the next two daily candles where it's going to be. Is it going to be consolidating, or are we going to be moving towards the upside and grabbing that liquidity? But in general, it looks like the broader trends is going to be towards the upside now that we've had this dip already in August. So that's looking really, really good. And this is another reason why you may see a move towards the upside. You can see in prior years when you had a red August, so in 2023 and 2024, we actually had a green September. So it's very likely that we have a green September next month if we close this month in the red. So if you're enjoying the video and you're agreeing with my opinion, make sure to check that first link down below for BitTunex. BitTunex is a non-KYC exchange that's offering my community a massive 20% bonus on your deposit. So make sure to be checking our first link down below. You can see if you deposit $2,000, you can get up to $400 in bonus right there. So I will not be fading this, as this is free money to be trading with. And this exchange is a great exchange with low fees. It's non-KYC, and you get a nice deposit bonus using that first link down below. So make sure to be checking it out and be using this link to sign up and get started after you finish reading all the terms and conditions. But yeah, I will not be fading this, as you have up until the 19th of September to claim this bonus. So make sure to be doing that right away. And let's get in towards the next part of the video. So looking at Ethereum, we also have liquidity piling up above us right there, and you can see that Ethereum has actually been hovering over here and consolidating. So we can actually draw a pattern for this, and you can see that Ethereum is actually gearing up for a massive breakout, and this could be to the upside or downside. Now if we trade towards the downside, I do think that the next support level is going to be at 4.1k over here. So I think that this is going to be the next support level if Ethereum decides to break down. But if Ethereum starts to break out, I do think that we're going to actually clear our all-time highs and move into uncharted territory here. It is very likely that we can actually start to see a breakout, and we can actually tackle that all-time high and try it again. So this is the next region I think Ethereum is going to be moving, judging where we're going to be breaking. So if we break to the downside, you have some support at 4.1k over here, and if you break towards the upside, it is likely we test our all-time highs and we move into the territory we've not been in before. Now the reason I say this is because we've already tested our previous all-time high, and in my books I think we've already tested it and grabbed some liquidity, and we have minor liquidity resting above us. So once we do grab this liquidity next, I do think that it's going to leave room for Ethereum to continue to move towards the upside. It's going to act as fuel to push Ethereum higher, and it's likely that we can actually close a monthly candle at all-time highs. You never know. I think that this is going to be the case if we actually see that breakout and we actually continue to move towards the upside. Now we need to be talking about this scenario for Ethereum, where we're going to be having up to 4 billion dumped, and I think this is a massive trap. So as you can see, a lot of people will be in profit from Ethereum, and there's been a lot of people actually queuing up to be selling their Ethereum and withdrawing it. So this is a queue for staked Ethereum, and validators are queuing up. And you may ask, like, who are the validators? Is it big institutions or not? And you can see by this chart over here that it's not big institutions, it's actually retail that's actually selling, whilst institutions are actually loading up on Ethereum massively. So you can see that large investors are accumulating whilst retail sells, and you're seeing that there's a lot of people queuing up to sell. So this just shows you that the people that are queuing up are retail, and the smart money is actually buying. So this is a massive signal to indicate that you should not be getting too bearish on Ethereum, because the whales are actually accumulating. You have institutions like Bitmine, Sharplink, the E Foundation themselves, and the Ether machine actually accumulating a lot of Ethereum. This chart is up and to the right. So I think that this is a massive signal to show that the smart money know that Ethereum will be trading a lot higher, which is why they're accumulating so much, and retail is actually dumping. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. That'll be it from me. Make sure to have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace guys, see ya, bye bye.